engaging in psychological warfare, he then began to call into question their capacity on the basis of race. He said, you know, we Assyrians, we have mastered the art of riding horses. And one of the reasons why no one can stop us is because of our mighty cavalry. You puny Jews, you don't have a cavalry. In fact, you don't have horses because you don't know how to ride a horse. He said, but I'll tell you what we'll do for you. Just to keep it fair, my master told me to tell you, King Hezekiah and the rest of you Jews, that we will give you 2,000 horses. We'll give them to you. You can have them. Stallions, whatever you want. We'll give you 2,000 horses. We'll just hand them to you. But there's only one problem. You people are so incompetent that you won't be able to find 2,000 men to ride those horses. So what good is it for me to give you those horses? Now, it does not take much imagination to take this story from the then and bring it to the now. Because what Rev Shecker said to the Jews is basically what was said to African Americans. That African Americans, you people, don't have the ability to ride horses. If we give you a horse, you won't be able to ride it. The word for that is racism. Racism is the tenet, is the doctrine that says that greatness, civilization, and all progress in the world has come through one race of people. That's racism. That only one race of people has brought progress, and be that progress technological or moral progress to the world. And not only has one race of people brought progress to the world, but in order for that progress to be maintained, that one group of people must maintain hegemony. That is racism. It's white supremacy, or it could be for many black nationalist groups, black supremacy, which says for black supremacists that in order for progress to take place, that only blacks have brought progress and only blacks must rule. It's the same thing that Hitler told his people in Germany. We are the master race. We must rule. We must be in charge. And this is basically, my brothers and sisters, the relationship that existed between African Americans and white Americans prior to the coming of King, when Rosa Parks sat on that seat in December of 1955. That blacks don't have the ability to ride a horse. We cannot give blacks power. They cannot ride horses. They cannot ride the horse of government. They cannot ride the horse of administration. They cannot ride the horse of scientific inquiry. They don't have what it takes. And that was the belief system of America. That's what we believed. Now, yes, you can be the hewers of water, the drawers of water, the hewers of wood, yes. But that's basically it. Yes, you can plant, you can pick cotton, you can brush a horse, but you can't be in charge because you don't know how to ride a horse. And all of the institutions in America conspired to reinforce that message in the minds of African Americans. Starting with the framers of the Constitution, So when the Constitution, and that's why when those who are strict constitutionalists say and act as though the Constitution of the United States in its original draft was an inerrant document, don't understand that the Constitution not only gave rights for slave masters to own slaves, but the Constitution defined the status of the slave. I'm saying that the slave was not fully human. The slave was 3/5 of a person, or the African was 3/5 of a person. And then, after the framers of the Constitution came together, then the judiciary branch came together in 1857, when Roger Taney, Supreme Court Chief Justice, ruled on the Dred Scott case. When Dred Scott, who had run away from slavery and said, since I am in the free states, that I should have the right to maintain my free status. And Roger Taney, speaking for the court, said, what do you mean, Dred? You're not even human. And you have no rights that we are bound to respect. So here comes the judiciary, the framers of the Constitution. And then the religious community chimes in. And Southern Baptists in 1845 split from Northern Baptists. In fact, all major denominations, Methodists, Presbyterians, and Baptists, split over the issue of whether or not the African can ride a horse. So the reason you have Southern Baptist churches, the origin of Southern Baptists, was over the issue of whether or not Southern Baptists could be missionaries and still maintain their slaves. And in fact, the religious community basically split before the country split. We were the precursor to the split of the nation. We taught the nation. The church taught the nation how to split. Most people can't ride horses according to religion because you are the descendants of Ham. And Ham was cursed. He was cursed by his father Noah. And I never understood how anyone could take seriously a curse that came from a man that was drunk. When you're drunk, you say all kinds of things, don't you? Then that was the belief. You cannot ride a horse. And perhaps, believe it or not, as sad as it may be, as I was coming to Campbellsville on the Lincoln Parkway, I was reminded that even as great as Lincoln was as an emancipator, the emancipator needed emancipating. Because even Lincoln said, these people cannot ride horses. It is a fact that he signed into law the Emancipation Proclamation ending slavery in 1863. But the Emancipation Proclamation was a war document. It had no jurisdiction in the South. In the 13 states that were in rebellion, it had no jurisdiction, so it freed no one. 4 million slaves freed. None of them were freed by the Emancipation Proclamation because the southern states did not respect the autonomy, the authority of the federal government. In the states that it had jurisdiction, namely Kentucky, it did not apply to Kentucky that had slaves because Kentucky was not in rebellion. And Lincoln, while he was anti-slavery, he was not pro-black. He did not believe that African Americans, it's a historical fact, have the ability to coexist with whites. As late as 1865, at the close of the war, Lincoln had in place plans to deport Africans, people like myself, out of this country, into Panama, into Haiti, into Liberia in West Africa. He did not want slavery to spread into the new territories because he believed in ethnic cleansing. He believed that America should be a nation for whites because he did not believe that blacks and whites could coexist, and he felt that if you keep blacks in this country, that they will bring the nation down, so deport them. Because they don't have the ability to ride horses. It was not Lincoln, check the record. It was radical Republicans like Thaddeus Stevens, Charles Sumner, who helped to pass the 13th Amendment, ending slavery, the 14th Amendment, making them citizens, the 15th Amendment, giving the freedmen the right to vote. You cannot ride horses. And we heard that from 1619 to 1865, and we continue to hear it. And that is why the agenda for African Americans in this country has